Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to lecture number 15 of algebraic topology. This lecture is second in the sequence of series of lectures where we discuss machinery from homological algebra. And as we have seen in the last lecture that we are going to need these tools from homological algebra to understand and to calculate simplicial homology and other kinds of homology. So in this lecture, in particular, we are interested in short exact sequences. So in the first section, we will discuss what are short exact sequences, and in the next and second section, we will see what is 5 lemma, and we will prove 5 lemma. So as we have discussed in our last lecture, that we are going to deal objects like this in homological algebra, where f, g, and h and other objects in this sequence are R modules, and these mappings are R module homomorphisms. So these are simple notations. So for example, we will always denote the trivial module, so which is the module containing only one element, by just 0. Of course this is module, and because this is a abelian group under addition, and we can define the action of any ring on this set, and so this is a module, and we will denote this only by 0. And this map from 0 to some module R module G is always defined as f of 0 is equal to 0. So why it is defined like this? So f is a R module homomorphism, so that's why it must take identity to the identity of G. Okay, so it's a little exercise for you. So if f from G to H is R module homomorphism, then f of 0, so where 0 is the additive identity of G, must be equal to the 0 which is the additive identity of H. So of course G and H are taken to be R modules. Okay, so I'm leaving this as an exercise for you to solve this. So next we can define this thing. So once again, this 0 means this trivial module, and this map H from G to 0 is always defined as H of x is equal to 0 for all x belongs to G. Okay, so these are the notations. So whenever I will write down 0 to G, it always means that there is a map f such that f of 0 is equal to 0 of this R module G. And similarly, whenever I will write down the map G to 0, then it means that it's a map which is taking every element of G to 0. So with these notation, let's start with our first definition of today's lecture. Given any ring with identity, and f, g, h be R modules, and this p from f to g is R module homomorphism, and this q from g to h is another R module homomorphism, then this sequence of R modules f, g, h and R module homomorphisms p, q is exact at g. So this is important, that we are checking the exactness at this node G and not at any other place, or okay, so this is exact at G if and only if image of P is equal to kernel of Q. And similarly, a sequence of modules and homomorphisms, okay, so it should be homomorphisms. So this is called exact if it is exact at each module in the sequence. So for example, let's write down this sequence. So let's say AQ plus 2, AQ plus 1, AQ, AQ minus 1, AQ minus 2, up to so on. Okay, so this sequence is exact if Okay, so let's call this map f of q plus 2, f of q plus 1, fq, fq minus 1, fq minus 2. So this sequence of R modules and R module homomorphisms, so this is exact at aq plus 1 if the image of fq plus 2 is equal to the kernel of fq plus 1. Okay, so similarly this is exact at aq if the image of fq plus 1 is equal to kernel of fq. Similarly this is exact at aq plus 1 if the image of fq is equal to kernel of fq minus 1, up to so on. So over here I wrote 3 conditions. So the first condition is that this sequence is exact at aq plus 1. The second condition is required if we want this sequence to be exact at aq, and the third condition is required if we want this sequence to be exact at aq minus 1. So if it is exact at each and every node, of course corresponding to every node we have one condition like this. So if these conditions are satisfied at each and every node, then we say that this sequence of modules and homomorphisms is exact. So it is important to note that we are not requiring about the finiteness or infiniteness of this sequence. So in particular this sequence could be finite, this sequence could be infinite, and it may be infinite in one direction only. Okay, so it could be anything, but the only thing that needs to be satisfied is that at each and every node the image of the previous map should be equal to the kernel of the forward map. Okay, so the following is an easy consequence of our definition. If we have a ring with identity and we have R module homomorphism H from G to H, where G and H are R modules, then H is a monomorphism if and only if this is an exact sequence. Okay, so this is if and only if, so we have to show both directions. Okay, let's assume that H is monomorphism. So let H is monomorphism. So if H is monomorphism, which means that H is a one-to-one map, then we know that H is monomorphism if and only if kernel of H is equal to 0, which is contained in G. Okay, so using this result we can say that so this is an exact sequence at G. So how it is exact sequence? So once again remember that this map means that let's say we call this map to be F, then F of 0 is equal to 0. So that's how we define. So in other words, what is image of F? So the image of F is just 0. And since H is monomorphism, it means that the kernel of H is 0, so which is equal to the kernel of H. So the image of F is equal to kernel of H, so which means that this sequence is exact. So in particular exact at G. So that's the only node where we can check the exactness. Now conversely, assume that let this sequence 1, 1 is exact. So if it is exact, then using this condition star, which means that the image of f should be equal to kernel of h. So we also know that this f always have 0 as image inside G. Once again, this is the notation that we set earlier in today's lecture, so which means that this is equal to 0. So kernel of h is 0, which means h is monomorphism. Okay, so in this proof we used a very crucial result, that h is a monomorphism if and only if kernel of h is 0. So let's see the sketch of this proof. So let h from G to h is R module homomorphism. Okay, so now we want to show that h is monomorphism if and only if kernel of h is 0. So consider h is monomorphism. So if it is monomorphism, then it means that h of A is equal to h of B implies that A is equal to B. Now we want to show that kernel of h is equal to 0. So one thing is clear, that h of 0 is always equal to 0. Okay, so I am leaving this as an exercise for you to show that h of 0 is always equal to 0. So in other words, any other element of G can't be mapped to 0 of h. So for example, if h of 0 is equal to h of A, where A is any other element of G, then this implies A is equal to 0. So only the 0 of G will be mapped to 0. So in other words, we can say that kernel of h is equal to 0. So using properties of monomorphism, we have proved this. Now conversely, let kernel of h is 0. Now we want to show that h of A is equal to h of B implies that A is equal to B. So we start from this expression that h of A is equal to h of B. So this implies that h of A minus h of B is equal to 0. So which implies that h of A minus P. So we can write it down like this, because h is an R module homomorphism. So this is equal to 0. So we have an element A minus B whose image under h is 0. So it means that A minus B must belong to the kernel of this R module homomorphism. But we have assumed that kernel of h is 0. So this implies, by assumption, okay, so by assumption, A minus B must be 0, which implies that A is equal to B. So that's what we needed to show. So in other words, we have proved that if kernel of h is 0, then h is a monomorphism. So basically this is the result that we needed to show this result, that h is a monomorphism if and only if the following sequence is exact sequence. So similarly we can show that h is epimorphism if and only if this is a exact sequence at h, of course. So exact at h, okay, because this is the only node where we can check the exactness. So what is epimorphism? It is R module homomorphism, which is surjective. Okay, so let's see how to show this. So assume that it is exact. So let's call it 1. Assume that 1 is exact. So exactness implies the image of h is equal to the kernel. Let's say this map is called f, so the kernel of f. Now according to the notations that we set earlier in today's lecture, if we have a map f from h to 0, then this always means that f of x is equal to 0 for all x belongs to h. So this means that every element of h is going to 0. In other words, this implies that kernel of f is equal to the whole h. So in other words, this implies that this is equal to h, and which implies that the image of h is equal to capital H. In other words, every element of this R module capital H is image of some element of G under this map small h. So we can say that, so this implies that H is epimorphism. Okay, now conversely, assume that H is epimorphism. So now we can easily see that using the same arguments that if H is epimorphism, then this is exact at H. Now on the same lines, we can show that H is an isomorphism if and only if it is an exact sequence. Okay, so the proof of this is the first interesting proof that we are going to do in our today's lecture. So let's say this map is F and this map is G. So according to our notation that we set earlier in today's lecture, F from 0 to G, then the image of F is equal to 0, and this must be equal to the kernel of H. Okay, so why we require this? Because we are assuming that it is exact. So according to the definition of exactness, if it is exact at G, then the image of P must be equal to kernel of Q. Okay, so using this notation, we derive that kernel of H is 0. So according to the result that we proved earlier in today's lecture, that kernel of H is 0 if and only if H is monomorphism, or in other words, this H is 1-to-1. So we have proved that this H, which is R module homomorphism, is a monomorphism. Okay, so now let's consider the node H. Okay, so in this case, the image of H should be equal to kernel of G. So once again, how we define this G? So G of X is 0 for all X belongs to H. So which means that kernel of G is equal to the whole module H. So this implies that, okay, so from star, so star implies that the image of H is equal to the H. In other words, this function H, this R module homomorphism H, is basically onto map, because the image of H is equal to the complete H. So this implies H is epimorphism. So if H is monomorphism and epimorphism, so this implies that H is isomorphism. Our next definition is short exact sequence. An exact sequence of the form is called short exact sequence, and as you can see that it is a finite sequence with only so 0, A, B, C and 0. So these zeros are fixed, they will always remain 0, and these A, B, C's are modules for some ring R. Let's consider examples of short exact sequences. Consider two modules over the ring R. and consider the following sequence of modules. Okay, so of course we know what is this map f. So this map f takes 0 to the 0 of m. How we define this map I from m to m direct sum n? Okay, so we take elements of m and the image is going to be m0. Okay, now how we define this map pi? So pi is a function from m plus n to n. So how we define this pi? So it takes an element m n from direct sum of these modules and it gives me n, only the second coordinate of mn. And similarly, what is this map g? So g takes every element of n to the 0, and this 0 is basically trivial module, and it means this, but we set our notation that we will always denote this 0 module with this 0. So that's how the maps of this short exact sequences are defined, but of course we have to prove that this is exact. Okay, so how it is exact? So let's consider this node m. So why it is exact at m? So the image of f is 0, and what about the kernel of I? So the image of f should be kernel of I. So the image of f is 0 inside m, and what about the kernel of I? So it takes elements of m and takes to m0. So what is 0 of mn, m plus n? So the 0 of m plus n is 0, 0. So what are the elements of capital M which are going to 0? Of course this is always going to be 0. So only the 0 of this capital M will go to 0, 0, because we are embedding this m as it is, and we are not doing anything special with the elements of m. We are just taking elements of m and putting it in m plus n in this way. So this will be 0 if and only if we have 0 of m. Okay, so in other words, this is exact at m. Similarly, why it is exact at m plus n? So what is the image of I? So the image of I is equal to, okay, so let's write it down here. So image of I, so the image of I is equal to, of course this is equal to m plus 0. Okay, so this is equal to m plus the 0. Okay, so 0 is contained in n, so of course this is contained in m plus n. So this is the image because it's taking elements of m and it's taking to m0. Okay, so that's how we define this I. What about so this is the image of I, and what about the kernel of pi? So they should be equal. So let's now calculate kernel of pi. Okay, so how pi is defined? So it's taking elements mn and it's taking to n. Okay, so in other words, what will be the kernel of this? What are the elements which are going to 0 of n? So of course we want 0 at this place. So in other words, I can take this m to be any element of capital M, and as long as this second coordinate is 0, I will always get 0. So in other words, I can say that the kernel of this is equal to m plus 0. Okay, because the elements of m plus 0 are of the form m0, and when we apply pi on this thing, then I should get the second coordinate, which is 0. So the kernel of pi is m plus 0. So in other words, this sequence is exact at m plus n. Similarly, this sequence is exact at this node n, because the image of pi is equal to capital N, because given any element, okay, so let I have an element n1 belongs to capital N, then there exists, so which implies there exists an element 0 n1 belonging to m plus n. I'm taking this to be a 0 because this m must have at least one element, which is the additive identity. So 0 n1 must belong to m plus n. So there exists this element such that pi of 0 n1 is equal to n1. So n1, any element of capital N, is image of some element of m plus n. So that's why the image of pi is capital N. So of course we know that this G is a map which takes every element of n to 0. In other words, the kernel of this G, so okay, so also kernel of G is equal to, okay, so capital N. So the image of pi is equal to capital N and kernel of G is equal to capital N. So it is exact at n as well. So it is a short exact sequence because it has 2 zeros at the end and there are 5 elements and 3 elements in the middle. So it's a short exact sequence. Now by using first isomorphism theorem of modules, we have this isomorphism. So why this isomorphism? Because we know that the image of f is equal to kernel of I. Okay, so since image of f is 0, so kernel of I is 0. Okay, so in the first step, note that kernel of I is 0. So if kernel of I is 0, which means that this function I is 1 to 1. Okay, so if it is 1 to 1, then there is an isomorphic copy of m inside m plus n. So in other words, we can take I of m living inside m plus n, and this I of m is definitely isomorphic to capital M. So we can say that, so isomorphism is like equality of R modules. So we can say that this m is inside m plus n because there is an isomorphic copy of m inside m plus n. So what is that isomorphic copy? I of m. Okay, so that's first observation. Now consider this function pi, this R module homomorphism pi. So the image of I, which is I of m, must be equal to kernel of this pi. So the image of I is equal to kernel of pi, which means that the kernel of pi is equal to I of m, and of course this I of m is isomorphic to m. So we can say that kernel of pi is isomorphic to m or equal to m because R modules equality is this isomorphism. So now by first isomorphism theorem, so if we apply first isomorphism theorem at this map, then according to first isomorphism theorem of modules, this m plus n quotient with kernel of pi must be isomorphic to image of pi. Okay, now what is the image of pi? So since this is an exact sequence, so the image of pi must be equal to kernel of G, but kernel of G is equal to n because that's how we define G. It takes every element of n to 0. So kernel of G is capital N, and so it must be equal to image of pi. So this implies we have m plus n quotient with kernel of pi, which is isomorphic to m, isomorphic to n because image of pi, which is equal to kernel of G, is equal to n. So we have this isomorphism. So given m and n, we can construct another R module m plus n such that they form a short exact sequence. Okay, so given this m and n, so I'm not imposing any condition on m and n. So given any m and n, I can construct a short exact sequence which is m plus n goes to n, and the mappings are defined in this way. So given m and n, I can define a short exact sequence in this way. So in general, given any two modules m and n, the module B such that the following sequence is short exact sequence is called the extension of n by m. The main question is how many such short exist. The main question से शुरू कर देंगे. The main question is how many such short exact sequences exist. for given A and C. So such extension problems exists for rings, groups and other structures as well. As a particular case of above example, we can take M to be Z, which is of course a Z module, and we can take Z quotient NZ, which is a set of integers modulo n. So we have the following extension. Okay, so take this M, take this N, and take the direct sum, and you have a short exact sequence. Okay, so this N consists of elements, so this N is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1 bar. So these are classes, and so for example in the 0 class we have all elements of nz, so which are the multiples of n. So for example 0 plus minus n plus minus 2n up to so on. And in the class 1 bar we have elements which are elements such that we get 1 when we divide any number with n. Okay, so these are the remainder classes. So for example in this case we have 1 plus minus n up to so on. Okay, so in particular let's take n is equal to 5. Okay, so what is n is equal to z quotient 5z. So it has the following elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the classes, and in the class for example 2 we have elements for example 7. Okay, so when I divide 7 by 5 then the remainder is 2. So that's why 7 in the class 2. And similarly we can obtain elements of the class 3 and elements of the class 4. So one particular element of the class 4 is 9, because when I divide 9 with 5 then the remainder is 4. And so these are modulo classes, and these are classes that we obtain by taking quotient of z with 5z. So this z is a z module because we can define, so this n of course is a abelian group under addition, and we can define action of z on n in the trivial way. For example, take R and take an element of n, and you can take it to Rn and take the modulus of this and mod n, and you will get another element of n. So this goes to n. Consider another example. So in this case our z modules are z, z and z quotient nz. So we discussed what is this z module, and of course z is trivially a z module. So this is a sequence of z modules. So how we define this function f? So we take z and it goes to nz. And how we define this function pi? So it takes any integer z and it takes its mod n. Okay, so once again how we calculate this mod n? So divide this z with n, and the remainder is going to be the answer of this z mod n. So once again, for example, if you have n is equal to let's take 7, then what is 11 mod 7? Okay, so you divide 11 by 7. Okay, so basically this is 4. So 7, so 11 mod 7 is equal to 4. Okay, so we use this kind of special equality because this is not ordinary equality. Okay, so that's how we define this function. So we see that the above sequence is exact at each node, so it is a short exact sequence. So this short exact sequence provides another answer to the extension of z by z. Okay, so the general case is discussed in our next example. So once again, what is the extension problem? So the extension problem is given for example z and z quotient nz. Can you find another z module in the middle such that this forms a short exact sequence? So in the previous example we constructed a short exact sequence which was just the direct sum of z and z quotient nz. Now in this case we have taken this middle Z module to be Z, and this sequence is exact at each and every node, so it is short exact sequence. So this is another answer to the extension of Z quotient NZ by Z. So of course we have to check that it is exact at each and every node, so I am leaving this as an exercise for you to check that this is exact at each and every node of this sequence. So given a ring and M and N to be R modules, if this is a short exact sequence, then the question is, what can be said about C? So F is injective. So why F is injective? Because let's call this map H, and let's call this map, for example, K. Then the image of H is 0, which must be equal to kernel of F. So kernel of F must be equal to image of H, which is 0. So kernel of F is 0. If kernel of F is 0, then F is 1 to 1, once again using the result that we proved earlier in today's lecture. So F is injective or 1 to 1. So N can be regarded as a submodule of M. Of course, when we say that regarded, so it means that this F of N, of course, lives inside M, and F is injective, R module homomorphism. So it means that there is 1 to 1 correspondence between the elements of N and the elements of F of N. So we can say that there is a copy of N inside M. Also, G is surjective. So why G is surjective? Because the image of G, okay, so according to the exactness, okay, so image of G must be equal to kernel of K. So what is the kernel of K? Because once again we set our notation that this K takes every element of C to 0. So in other words, the image of G must be equal to C. So which means that G is surjective. Okay. So now, by first isomorphism theorem of modules, we have C must be isomorphic to M quotient N. So according to first isomorphism theorem, M quotient kernel of G is isomorphic to image of G. Okay, now kernel of G is basically isomorphic to F of N. Okay, so kernel of G is F of N, but F of N is isomorphic to N. So we can say that this is N. Now what is image of G? G is surjective, so it is C. So M quotient N is isomorphic to C. So in other words, the above short exact sequence becomes N goes to M quotient N. Now consider another interesting example of this short exact sequence. So we have this short exact sequence. So this function f is defined as f of n is equal to nm. So we are only giving image of 1 because this f is R module homomorphism. So if I want to know the image of any element n, which is an integer, then I can write it down as f of 1 n. Okay, and then I can write it down as n into f of 1. Since this z is a z module, so using properties of the z module, so what property, let's recall. So it says that R a is equal to R f of a, where R is an element of the ring and a is element of the module. So using this property, so if I know what is f of n, then I can easily calculate f of n for every integer z. So that's how we define this f. Then what can be said about this C? Okay, so there are three cases, there are three possibilities. So the first possibility is m is 0, and the second possibility is n is 0. Of course both of them can't be 0, because otherwise we are dealing a very trivial case. So let's consider the first case where n is non-zero and m is equal to 0. So what is the image of f in this case? So it takes 1 and it takes 2. So n is non-zero and m is 0, n 0. Okay, So since this is a short exact sequence, so the image of let's say this map is h1 and this map is h2, so the image of h1 is 0, which must be equal to the kernel of f. So only 0 0 goes to the 0. So for example, the image of h1 is 0 and it must be equal to kernel of f, so only 0 of this z goes to 0 of z plus z. Okay, so which is true in this case, of course. So what about the image of f? So the image of f is going to be n times the integers. So for example, if I have an element let's say a of z, then what is the image of a? So f of a is equal to f of a into 1 is equal to a into f of 1 is equal to a into n0, which is equal to a n0. So in other words, we can say that the image of f is basically equal to, so the image of f is equal to nz. So we multiply integers with n, direct sum with z. So this is the image of f. And since we are assuming that this is exact sequence, so the image of f must be equal to kernel of g. Okay, so in other words, we can say that kernel of g by exactness, so kernel of g is equal to nz plus z, because this is the image of f. Okay, so once again, g is our module homomorphism, and by using first isomorphism theorem of modules, so z plus z quotient nz plus z must be isomorphic to C. So so in this case you can see that we are not disturbing this second z, and we are just taking quotient of this z by nz, so we are just taking quotient in the first coordinate, so we can say that this C is isomorphic to zn plus z. Okay, so on the same lines we can show that if m is not equal to 0 and n is equal to 0, then the C is z plus zm. So let's consider this third and interesting case. So if m and n both are non-zero, and then we can calculate the highest common factor of n and m. So if h is the highest common factor, then we can write n is equal to h into n prime, m is equal to h into m prime. And so by a result from number theory, there exists a and b such that a n prime plus b m prime is equal to 1. Okay, so now consider this map P from this direct sum z plus z to z plus z defined in the following way. Now this map is an isomorphism, and I'm leaving this as an exercise for you to show that this is an isomorphism. Now what are the images of the elements? Okay, so just multiplying them, we get n prime z1 minus b z2 and m prime z1 plus a z2. So which can be written in the following form: z1 n prime m prime plus z2 minus b a. Okay, also this P is an isomorphism, so which means that every element of z plus z can be obtained in this way, where z1 and z2 are integers. So let me say again, every element of z plus z can be obtained in this way. In other words, for every element there exists some z1 and z2 such that this combination is equal to a pair of integers a, b. Okay, so every integer, every element of z plus z can be written in this way. Okay, so we can say that this z plus z is basically this element multiplied with z1 plus this element multiplied with z2, where when z1 and z2 varies, then we get elements of z plus z. Okay, now we have bases of z plus z. Okay, so the elements of this, so normally when we write down an element a b, then we can write it down as a0 plus b0 1, and this element corresponds to the first copy of z, and this element corresponds to the second copy of z. Now we are changing the bases, so in other words, this u under this basis corresponds to the first copy of z, and this v belongs to the second copy of z. So there are two different z's, and every element of z plus z is combination of these two elements. Now let's have a look at our map f. So f of 1 is equal to n into m, which is equal to, so n is equal to hn prime, m is equal to hm prime, so this is equal to h into u. Okay, so in other words, we are only disturbing the first copy of z. So once again, when we write down this z plus z, then we normally assume that the elements can be obtained by multiplying this with some integer, multiplying this with some integer, and adding them. But over here we are taking our basis to be u and v, so basically multiply this u with some integer and multiply v with some integer, and then add them, and then we get elements of z plus z, and so this z corresponds to u. And so by the previous case where we only disturbed the first copy, and so it was isomorphic to zn plus z, so by using that result, this c is isomorphic to zh plus z. So given any sequence of modules and homomorphism, okay, so it must be homomorphism, so this is exact if and only if the following sequence is short exact sequence. Here b is injection and c is equal to fq. Okay, so this is exact at aq, of course. Then this is true if and only if this. I am leaving this as an exercise for you, and it's going to be very interesting exercise. Now a general question, which of course is not an exercise. So when we are doing classification of finitely generated abelian groups, then we consider short exact sequences of this form, and we ask ourselves what can be said about C. So of course this is not an exercise, just an idea that short exact sequences play a very important role in, for example, classification of abelian groups. So this is just a recall from our second lecture where we saw what is a commutative diagram. So a diagram is commutative if for each pair of vertices of the diagram, every two paths between them are equal as morphisms. So as an example, consider this diagram. Now if we want this diagram to be commutative, then if I move from A to E from this side or this side, then I should get the same answer. In other words, Q composition F must be equal to H composition P. And similarly, if I start from B and want to reach F, then any two paths, okay, so this path and this path must give me the same answer. In other words, R composition G must be equal to K composition Q. Okay, so that's what it means by a diagram to be commutative. So now we are going to use all this discussion to prove our main result of today's lecture. So this is called 5 lemma. So to prove 5 lemma, we need the following proposition. So the proposition says that if we have following sequence of R modules and R module homomorphisms, then we have the following result. Okay, so now we are concentrating on this middle column. Okay, and if this alpha q plus 1, alpha q minus 1, if these are monomorphisms, and alpha q plus 2 is epimorphism, then alpha q is monomorphism. And similarly, concentrating once again on this middle column, if alpha q plus 1, alpha q minus 1 are epimorphisms, and this alpha q minus 2 is monomorphism, then this alpha q is an epimorphism. So let's see how to prove this result. So in this case, what is our given data? That this alpha q plus 1 is monomorphism, this alpha q minus 1 is monomorphism, and this alpha q plus 2 is epimorphism, and the question mark is that this alpha q is monomorphism or not. So in other words, we want to show that the kernel of alpha q is equal to 0. So let's take x to be an element of aq, and such that alpha q of x is 0. And of course, if we want to show that alpha q is monomorphism or alpha q is 1 to 1, then we have to show that the kernel of alpha q is 0. So in other words, any element which goes to 0 of bq must be equal to 0. So we chose this element x belongs to aq, which goes to 0 under alpha q. So now we have to show that this x is 0. Now if alpha q of x is 0, now consider this part of this diagram. So if I take this path or this path, then I should get the same answer. So in other words, when I apply alpha q and then gq, so basically following this path, or if I apply fq and then alpha q minus 1, in other words, if I follow this path, then the answer should be the same. But this is equal to 0 because alpha q x is 0 and gq is basically an R module homomorphism, and which takes 0 to 0, so that's why the answer is 0. Now this implies that fqx is 0 because alpha q minus 1 is monomorphism, because this is the assumption. If this is monomorphism, it means only elements going to 0 are the 0 elements. Okay, so alpha q minus 1 of this element is 0, so it means fqx is 0. Okay, because alpha q minus 1 is monomorphism. Okay, so now the rows are exact sequence. In other words, the image of fq plus 1 must be equal to kernel of fq, and so x which basically belongs to the kernel of fq must be an image of some element of aq plus 1. Okay, so of course there exists an element y belongs to aq plus 1 such that x is equal to fq plus 1 of y. So let me say again why this exists, because this x belongs to the kernel of fq, and according to our definition of exactness, the image of fq plus 1 must be equal to the kernel of fq. So according to this definition, x belongs to the image of this, which means that there exists an element y belongs to aq plus 1 such that f of fq plus 1 of y is equal to x. Okay, now consider these two roots. So apply aq plus 1 first and then apply gq plus 1, or apply fq plus 1 and then apply alpha q. So follow these two roots on y and then you must get 0. Okay, so this is the reason, because x is equal to fq plus 1 y, so this is equal to x. Okay, so when you apply alpha on x, then we alpha q on x, then we already know that alpha q of x is 0, so that's why this is 0. So in other words, gq plus 1 of alpha q plus 1 y is equal to 0, and so alpha q plus 1 y belongs to kernel of gq plus 1, because let me write it down, that gq plus 1 of alpha q plus 1 y is equal to 0. It means that alpha q plus 1 y must belong to kernel of gq plus 1. So we have an element alpha q plus 1 y belonging to the kernel of gq plus 1. Okay, so once again, the image of GQ plus 1 must be equal to kernel of GQ plus 1. So in other words, there exists an element Z belongs to BQ plus 2 such that the image under GQ plus 2 of Z is equal to alpha Q plus 1 Y. Once again, it is an exact sequence at BQ plus 1, so the image of GQ plus 2 must be equal to the kernel of GQ plus 1, and this alpha Q plus 1 of Y belongs to kernel of GQ plus 1, so it must be equal to GQ plus 2 of Z for some Z. So that's the first part. Now let's see the second part. Since alpha Q plus 2 is an epimorphism, so remember we have Z over here such that GQ plus 2 of Z, okay, is equal to alpha Q plus 1 Y. Okay, so alpha Q plus 1 of Y, and we have X in here. Okay, so alpha Q plus 2 is an epimorphism, so there exists an element W in AQ plus 2 such that alpha Q plus 2 of W is equal to Z, since this is an epimorphism. Okay, so we are just using the assumption. So this W is this Z is equal to alpha Q plus 2 of W. Now consider this W and consider these two roots. So first follow this root, okay, and then follow the other root. So let's see what we get here. So apply FQ plus 2 and then apply alpha Q plus 1 and then apply alpha Q plus 2 and GQ plus 2. Now what is alpha Q plus 2 of Z? Of course this is equal to Z because it's written over here. Okay, so this is Z, and so we have GQ plus 2 Z. Now we also know that GQ plus 2 of Z is equal to alpha Q plus 1 of Y, so that's why this is equal to alpha Q plus 1 Y. Now but since alpha Q plus 1 is a monomorphism, okay, so remember that this is monomorphism, this is monomorphism, and this is epimorphism. Alpha Q plus 2 is epimorphism. So since alpha Q plus 1 is monomorphism, so in other words alpha Q plus 1 of X is equal to, so let's take it X1, alpha Q plus 1 of Y, let's take it Y1, implies that X1 is equal to Y1. So that's the definition of monomorphism, and since alpha Q plus 1 of this element is equal to alpha Q plus 1 of Y, so Y must be equal to FQ plus 2 of W. Okay, so now consider this X which is equal to FQ plus 1 Y. Okay, so remember this X over here is equal to FQ plus 1 of Y. So this is equal to, so what is Y? So Y is equal to FQ plus 2 of W. So this happens, and this is 0. So why this is 0? Because the image of FQ plus 2, so the image of this must be equal to the kernel of FQ plus 1. Okay, so if we have this element which is of course FQ plus 2 of W, which belongs to the image of FQ plus 2, so it must belongs to the kernel of FQ plus 1. So it means that FQ plus 1 must take this element to the 0, so this is our 0, so it means this element X is 0. So that's what we wanted to show, that if alpha Q of X is 0, then X is 0, which means that this alpha Q is monomorphism. And on the same lines we can see the proof of part 2 which is provided in the lecture notes, and using the same tricks we can show that if alpha Q plus 1 and alpha Q minus 1 are epimorphisms and alpha Q minus 2 is monomorphism, then alpha Q is epimorphism. So as an easy consequence of this proposition, we have this 5 lemma which says that if we have a ring with identity and we have this following commutative diagram of R modules, and or R-module homomorphisms, if this alpha q plus 2, alpha q plus 1, alpha q minus 1, alpha q minus 2 are isomorphisms, then alpha q is an isomorphism. So I'm leaving the proof of this as an exercise, as a simple exercise in fact. So next time we'll continue our discussion of the tools of homological algebra, and we will consider what are chain complexes. This is the end of the lecture. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.